Learning objectives. After completing this module, learners will be able to describe and understand why the Nawabs of Awadh and Bengal wanted to do away with the Jagirdari system. Learn and compare the similarities associated with the new provinces of Awadh, Bengal, or Hyderabad. List and understand the various policies adopted by Asaf Jah to strengthen his position. Describe how were the Sikhs organized in the 18th century. Describe how the groups of people like the Rajputs, Jats, Sikhs or Marathas came into power. Understand the development and expansion of the Marathas beyond the Deccan. Learn how merchants and bankers came to wield powerful influence in the 18th century. 18th century political formations. Introduction. The frontiers of Mughal Empire saw major transformations in the first half of the 18th century due to the emergence of various independent kingdoms. By 1765, the British, an upcoming power, had seized a large extent of territories in eastern India. There was a sudden and dramatic change in the political conditions in the 18th century. Many new political groups gained ground roughly from 1707, the year Aurangzeb died, till the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761. The crisis of the later Mughals. After reaching the pinnacle of success, the Mughal Empire faced decay and decline owing to numerous crises close to the end of the 17th century. Emperor Aurangzeb's persistent wars in the Deccan depleted the military and financial resources of his empire. The later Mughal emperors gradually lost power over their powerful mansabdars, governors, subedars, and military administration. The lineage of Mughal emperors after Aurangzeb was not strong enough to consolidate their political and economic authority. Thus, the British might grew politically, economically, and militarily in vast regions of the Mughal Empire. Decline of the Mughals. Rich harvests and empty coffers. Financial bankruptcy of the empire caused the complete breakdown of order and administration. Despite a good harvest, the governors and their agents received little revenue owing to recurrent peasant revolts. Nadir Shah's attacks. The economic and political crisis deepened when Nadir Shah, the ruler of Iran, ravaged and looted the city of Delhi in 1739. The wealth he and his army carried away equaled to 50 crores worth of incomparable, priceless jewels, which included the famous peacock throne. Between 1748 and 1761, North India was invaded and looted by Afghan ruler Ahmad Shah Abdali. As per the accounts of contemporary observers, Nadir Shah ruthlessly devastated the new city, Shahjahanabad, and razed down the old quarters of the city. The animosity and conflict between two major factions of nobles, the Iranis and the Duranis, nobles of Turkish descent, also shook the foundations of the empire. The later Mughal emperors were powerless against these two powerful groups. The worst disgrace was faced when two Mughal emperors, Farrukh Shiar (1713 to 1719) and Alamgir II (1754 to 1759) were assassinated, and Ahmad Shah (1748 to 1754) and Shah Alam II 1759 to 1816 were blinded by their own nobles. Emergence of new states. The decline in the authority of Mughal emperors in the 18th century led to the disintegration of the Mughal Empire into various autonomous regional states. Majorly, there were three overlapping groups. Firstly, old Mughal provinces like Awadh, Bengal, and Hyderabad, though grew independent and powerful, did not break ties with the Mughal emperors. Secondly, there were states including Rajput principalities that enjoyed a great degree of independence under the Mughals as Watan Jagirs. Lastly, there were states under the Marathas, Sikhs, and other like the Jats. These states varied in size. They attained independence from the Mughals after a long-drawn armed strife. The old Mughal provinces 1. Awadh, Bengal and Hyderabad were three old Mughal provinces that emerged as major regional powers and gained independence from the Mughal in the 18th century. These were founded by Saadat Khan, Awadh, Murshid Qoli Khan, Bengal, and Asaf Jah, Hyderabad, members of the high Mughal nobility who had been governors. All three had been highly trusted mansabdars of the Mughal emperors, while Asaf Jah and Murshid Qoli Khan held at Zat rank of 7,000 each. Saadat Khan's Zat was 6,000. Hyderabad. Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah wielded a lot of power in the court of Mughal Emperor Farrukh Siar. He founded the state of Hyderabad and ruled it from 1724 to 1748. He initially was appointed as the governor of Awadh and later given independent charge of Deccan provinces as governor. He, in planned manner, gathered power and became the virtual ruler of the Deccan, turning the turbulence and competition amongst the court nobility to his favour. Asaf Jah inducted skilled soldiers and officials from the north in his administrative services, who well received new opportunities in the south. He appointed mansabdars and granted jagirs. He served the Mughal emperor but functioned independently without any direction or interference from Delhi. The old Mughal provinces too. The Mughal emperor just approved of the decisions made by Nizam-ul-Mulk, Asaf Jah. In the west, the state of Hyderabad was perpetually in an armed strife with the Marathas. It was also struggling against the Telugu warrior chiefs, Nayaks of the plateau. The British dominance was growing in the east. They thwarted Nizam-ul-Mulk Asaf Jah's ambitions of getting control of the rich textile-producing areas of the Coromandel coast. The Nizam's army. According to a description of the Nizam's troopers in 1790, the Nizam had a savari of 400 elephants, along with several thousands of his personal horsemen, who received more than 100 rupees as a nominal pay. They were extremely well mounted and richly adorned. The Nizam's army Awadh. The founder of Awadh, Burhan-ul-Mulk Saadat Khan, was appointed Subedar of Awadh in 1722. It turned out to be one of the most important states to break up from the Mughal Empire. Awadh was a prosperous state. It controlled the rich alluvial Ganga plains and was located on the main trade route between North India and Bengal. Burhan-ul-Mulk had Subedari political, Diwani financial, and Faujdari military offices under his authority. To minimize Mughal influence in the Awadh region, Saadat Khan gradually reduced the size of Jagirs, reduced the number of Jagirdars appointed by the Mughal emperor, and appointed his own loyalists in vacancies thus created. Officials of the Nawab's court kept a close watch on the accounts of the Jagirdars to rule out possibilities of cheating. They also reassessed the revenues of all districts. He captured several Rajput zamindaris and the fertile lands of the Afghans of Rohilkhand. The state depended on Mahajans and local money bankers for loans. It sold the right to collect tax was to highest bidders. These revenue farmers or Jagirdars, in return, paid a fixed amount of money to the state through the local bankers. For their services, the revenue farmers were allowed freedom for assessment and collection of taxes. This arrangement made the state highly dependent on the new social groups of money lenders and local bankers who influenced the state considerably. The Nizam's army Bengal. Murshid Quli Khan, the naib or deputy to the governor of Bengal, gradually freed Bengal of Mughal control. Though never a subedar, he worked his way to power effectively to control Bengal. The revenue administration of the state was under his control. To reduce Mughal intervention in Bengal, he transferred all Mughal Jagirdars to Orissa. He ordered reassessment of the revenues of Bengal and ordered collection of revenue in cash from zamindars. This compelled many small zamindars to borrow money from bankers and money lenders. Those short of resources had to sell their lands to wealthier zamindars. Similarly, to Hyderabad and Awadh, the state and the bankers had close connection in Bengal too, under the rule of Alivardi Khan. Three notable features common to all the three breakaway states were: 1. The erstwhile Mughal nobles who established the larger states were highly wary of the administrative systems, particularly the Jagirdari system. 2. They devised their own method of tax collection, which differed from the practice followed by the Mughal rulers. All three states dispensed with the officers of the state and contracted with the revenue farmers for revenue collection. This practice was called Ijaradari. The Mughals disapproved of it. Third, lastly, all three states had developed close relationship with the merchants and bankers. They lent money to the Jagirdars and received land in lieu as security. They appointed their own agents to collect revenue on these lands. The Watan Jagirs of the Rajputs. Many Rajput kings, especially of Amer and Jodhpur, served the Mughals with exceptional loyalty. It earned them considerable autonomy from the Mughal rulers in their Watan Jagirs. In the 18th century, these rulers attempted to take control over the nearby regions. Jodhpur's ruler Raja Ajit Singh used his clout to get the subedari of rich provinces of Gujarat and Malwa for other Rajput families. He held the governorship of Gujarat, while Savai Raja Jai Singh of Amber held that of Malwa. Their offices were renewed by Emperor Jahandar Shah in 1713. Nagaur was annexed by Jodhpur while Amber captured large stretches in Bundi. In 1722, Savai Raja Jai Singh established his new capital in Jaipur and became the Subedar of Agra. He maintained a sizable army, artillery, and enormous wealth. Constant attacks from the Marathas from 1740s brought these princely states under a lot of pressure and deterred their expansion. Seizing independence, the Sikhs. In the 17th century, the Sikhs turned into a political community which helped in the regional state building in Punjab. Guru Gobind Singh got into armed struggle against the Rajput and Mughal rulers both before and after the formation of Khalsa in 1699. After his death in 1708, his follower Banda Bahadur took forward the Khalsa revolt against the Mughal authority. They declared themselves independent by striking coins in the name of Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh. Their administration spread between the Satluj and the Jamuna. Banda Bahadur was captured in 1715 and executed in 1716. In the 18th century, the Sikh leaders divided into numerous bands called Jathas and later as Misls. A system called Rakhi was introduced, which imposed a tax of 20% of the produce on the cultivators in return of protection to them. They also battled against Ahmad Shah Abdali, who had captured the province of Punjab, and the Sarkar of Sirhind from Mughals. The Khalsa declared its independent rule by releasing its own coins in 1765. By late 18th century, the 6 territories had expanded from the Indus to the Jamuna, but they were not united. Maharaja Ranjit Singh, an able leader and administrator, could unite these groups and establish his capital in Lahore in 1799. The Marathas won. The powerful Maratha kingdom emerged as an indomitable force against the Mughal rule. Shivaji 1627 to 1680 was aided by the courageous warrior families of Deshmukhs in establishing a powerful and stable kingdom. Shivaji mobilized groups of peasants, pastoralists, Kunbis to join the Maratha army and confront the Mughal army. After Shivaji's death, a family of Chitpavan Brahmanas who served Shivaji's successors as Peshwa on principal ministers came to power. Pune became the capital of Maratha kingdom. The Marathas rose to great height as a successful military organization under the Peshwas. The Maratha Empire saw great expansion between 1720 and 1761. By 1720s, the Marathas were able to claim Malwa and Gujarat from the Mughals. By 1730s, the Maratha king was recognized as a supreme force in the entire Deccan Peninsula. He had the authority to impose chauth, 1/4 of the total land revenue claimed by zamindars, and Sardesh Mukhi, 1/10 of the land revenue paid to the head revenue collector in the entire region. The Marathas too. After raiding Delhi in 1737, the Marathas expanded their territories into Rajasthan and Punjab in the north, Bengal and Odisha in the east, and Karnataka and Tamil and Telugu regions in the south. The Marathas collected tribute from these rulers as a sign of their acceptance of Maratha sovereignty. It fueled animosity towards the Marathas amongst other rulers. It turned out to be the major reason why Marathas could not garner enough support during the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761. The Marathas had a well-organized administrative system. Revenue demands were made keeping the local conditions in view. Agricultural improvements and revival of trade were emphasized. This is why the Maratha chiefs or Sardars like Sindhya of Gwalior, Gaikwad of Baroda and Bhosle of Nagpur could raise powerful armies. The cities of Ujjain and Indore flourished under the patronage of the Sindhyas and the Holkars respectively. They functioned as important commercial and cultural centers. New trade routes were discovered in the Maratha areas. The silk of Chanderi region was patronized in Pune, the Maratha capital. The expansion of Burhanpur, the trade center between Agra and Surat, encompassed Pune and Nagpur in the south and Lucknow and Allahabad in the east. Seizing independence. The Jats. The Jats acquired political significance in the late 17th and 18th centuries. Under the leadership of Churaman, the Jats brought the territories lying to the west of the city of Delhi under their control. By 1680s, the Jats had a dominating position in the region between the cities of Delhi and Agra. They were wealthy agriculturalists. Towns like Panipat and Ballabgarh transformed into notable trading centers under their rule. Surajmal played an important role in shaping Bharatpur as a formidable state. The testimonial lies in the fact that many of Delhi's prominent figures took refuge in Bharatpur when Nadir Shah invaded Delhi in 1739. His son Jawahir Shah confronted the Mughals with 30,000 troops of his own, 20,000 Marathas and 15,000 Sikhs. While the Bharatpur fort exudes a traditional architecture, the Jats built an elaborate garden palace at Dig, which has styles of both Amer and Agra. Most of its buildings are inspired by the architectural forms of the era of Shah Jahan. The French Revolution. The French Revolution, 1789 to 1794. In the 18th century India, the common people did not have a right to participate in the matter of their governments. It was the same situation in the Western world till late 18th century. Events like American Revolution, 1776 to 1781, and French Revolution challenged and changed it. During the French Revolution, the middle classes, peasants and artisans questioned and protested against the special rights granted to the clergy and the nobility. They argued that groups in society should acquire privileges not due to birth but due to merit. The philosophers of the French revolutions stressed upon equal laws and opportunities for all without any discrimination. They demanded people's right to participate in government affairs and maintained that the government's authority should come from its people. Eventually, these revolutions changed the status of people from subjects to citizens. The concept of citizenship, nation-state, and democratic rights gained around in India from the 19th century. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. The later Mughal emperors began to lose control over their powerful mansabdars. Nobles appointed as governors or subedars controlled the offices of revenue or Diwani and military administration, Faujdari as well. The Mughal emperors, after Aurangzeb, were unable to consolidate their political and economic authority. This shifted into the hands of provincial governors, local chieftains, and other groups, which were now able to seize the economic resources of the region. Peasants and zamindari revolted in many parts of northern and western India, increasing its problems. Though the peasants reaped good harvests, the governors and their agents could not get any revenues because of the revolts. This economic and political crisis was aggravated when the ruler of Iran, Nader Shah, ransacked and plundered the city of Delhi in 1739. The Afghan ruler Ahmad Shah Abdali further invaded and plundered North India 5 times between 1748 and 1761. Two Mughal emperors, Farrukh Siar (1713 to 1719) and Alamgir II (1754 to 1759), were assassinated, and Ahmad Shah (1748 to 1754) and Shah Alam II (1759 to 1816) were blinded by their nobles. With the decline in the authority of the Mughal emperors through the 18th century, the Mughal Empire gradually broke into several independent regional states. States that were old Mughal provinces like Awadh, Bengal and Hyderabad, although extremely powerful and quite independent, still owed allegiance to the Mughal emperors but slowly broke away. Their erstwhile Mughal nobles who established the larger states were themselves highly wary of administrative systems, particularly the Jagirdari system. The practice of Ijaradari, disliked by the Mughals, spread all over India in the 18th century. The common features in all these regional states was their growing relationship with rich bankers and merchants. Throughout India, the richest merchants and bankers gained importance in the new political setup. States such as several Rajput principalities that had enjoyed certain degree of independence under the Mughals as Watan Jagirs also became independent. The group including states under the control of Marathas, Sikhs and other likes the Jats under leaders such as Banda Bahadur, Peshwas, Churaman, Maharaja Surajmal, etc. also broke away from Mughal control and became very powerful.